Well, good morning friends, and hello from the Blue Ridge Mountains. We're here for the next few days on a bit of a surprise trip. Christopher knows how much I love surprises and experiences. Before my birthday, he basically told me we're going to go on a trip to the mountains, but he didn't tell me exactly where we were going or what we were doing. So last night we left right after work and drove about 2.5 hours straight into the mountain. We stopped along the way for some Chick-fil-A, my favorite road trip meal. I got my classic 8-count nugget meal with some lemonade. Then around 8 p.m. we got to our Airbnb, which is nestled in this peaceful little valley in the mountains about 20 minutes outside of Blowing Rock. So we just hung out for a bit, had a nice chill evening before going to bed early and getting ready for the new day. And this morning we woke up to just the most beautiful scenery. The weather was crisp and cool outside, the leaves were changing, and it was just so peaceful and relaxing. So I really am just so incredibly excited for this trip. I don't know everything that we're going to get up to. Christopher's kind of left that still as a surprise, so we'll get to discover it together. But I do know the plan for the next few hours. We're going to head into Boone right now, which is a nearby town, get some breakfast, some coffee, and do a bit of exploring. So that's the plan, and I am so excited to spend this weekend together. Before we leave though, I want to take you guys on a quick tour of this Airbnb because it really is so beautiful. Okay, so coming in, you have this really cute and comfy little seating area. And you've got this massive bed. This was super comfortable for sleeping in last night. Then over here, we have a little coffee and tea station, a little mini fridge and microwave. Then we have the TV here. I really like the wood paneling that they did. Then on this cabinet, there's a couple of little essentials in case you need them. But then the real star of the show is this bathroom. I love all the live plants in here. This pedestal sink is so beautiful. And then this shower is just absolutely incredible. I would love to do something like this in our own bathroom, maybe one day. So yeah, that's our Airbnb. Oh, also, I almost forgot the most exciting part, the view. Hi, Christopher. Look at how beautiful. Okay, but now let's head out. This is going to be such a fun day. So we've come to a place called Stick Boy Bread Company for breakfast, which is perfect timing because I am quite hungry. We decided to eat outside because it is just absolutely gorgeous today. We're looking over some mountains right now with some beautiful bright red trees in the background. There's Christopher. So we just ordered, we're waiting for our food right now. I did already get my Earl Grey latte though, and haven't tried it yet, but that's really good. We just came, it looks so tasty. I got a pumpkin bagel with honey walnut cream cheese. And then Christopher, what did you get?
I got everything but the kitchen sink is what they call it, which is everything but the kitchen sink.
Got some eggs, some bacon.
Some fruit, some French toast.
Let's dig in. So after an absolutely scrumptious breakfast at Stick Boy Bread Company, Christopher and I made our way to downtown Boone to do a bit of exploring. And Boone is a fairly small town nestled away in the heart of the Blue Ridge Mountains, but they do have one main street, West King Street, that has a number of very cute little shops and cafes. So Christopher and I just spent a couple of hours wandering down the main street, and there were a number of really adorable little shops that we checked out, a few of which had the cutest dogs inside of them. So we just walked through and explored those, mostly did some window shopping. However, I did come home with a few items. And probably my favorite of the shops that we checked out was Common Goods. It's like if you curated a store filled with all of my favorite things, it's pretty much what you'd end up with. There was plenty of interesting glassware in there, pottery, candles, different pieces of locally made art, and so much more. Then another real highlight on the street for me was Doe Ridge Pottery. They had dozens of stunning handcrafted pottery pieces in a number of very unique and intricate styles. But then once we finally made our way to the end of the main strip, Christopher and I headed back to the car and drove to a nearby coffee shop. And immediately when we parked, I was a bit distracted by the cutest little bus that was parked out of the coffee shop. It's called the Plant Bustique, and it's essentially just a cute little plant shop inside a converted bus. And the owner was just so sweet and knowledgeable about all of the plants in there. And actually, as a little birthday present, Christopher picked up this silver Sansevieria for me. I don't think it was a part of his original plan, but I think when he saw how excited I was by all the plants in here, he just wanted to do a little something special for me. But then right next to that was the coffee shop that we'd originally come to visit, Hatchet. So we made our way inside and ordered a couple of seasonal beverages.
Could I get a smashing pumpkin latte and a witch hour?
Yeah, for the smashing pumpkin, 12 or 16 ounce.
Let's do 16 for both.
That's really good. Okay, well we just left the coffee shop. I think it was their take on a pumpkin spice latte. It was really delicious. There was like this toasted marshmallow on top of it. It was really yummy. The last sip was probably a bit too sweet, but the rest of it was just the perfect balance of a bit of sweetness, a bit of spice, all of that. It was really tasty, but now we've got a couple of hours before our dinner reservation. So right now, Christopher has picked out a little hike, walk, kind of blend in the area for us to do, and I'm excited to check it out. I feel like literally anywhere we go right now, it's just going to be beautiful, because as we're driving, just the color of the leaves is stunning. So Christopher, is this gonna be a good one?
Hope so.
Yeah. I really feel like we can't go wrong right now. The hike that we ended up doing was called the Kennedy Trail Loop, and it was in an absolutely beautiful spot close to the town. I found it particularly relaxing because there was a small river that kind of flowed parallel to much of the trail. So as you were walking, you really just got to enjoy the very peaceful sound of the water flowing over the rocks. There's something so tranquil and soothing about places like this that really just sets your mind and your soul at ease. Then something else that was just really lovely about this hike was all the incredible fall foliage. While we were there, the leaves really were at the peak of their color change, and so we really just got to enjoy the spectacular fireworks show of colors that the trees along this trail were putting on display. And then when we were about halfway through this trail, we were greeted with just the coolest surprise. We found an entire family of 4 or 5 deer. We couldn't quite keep count, but they were just hanging out, having a little snack right by the water and so close to the greenway. And Christopher and I were really just mesmerized by them. We probably spent 10 or 15 minutes just sitting there watching them munch away. Eventually though, we did continue on with the trail and the views only got better. Well, that was pretty incredible. That hike was beautiful to begin with, but seeing that many deer that close up was just so cool, and I've never seen deer that unafraid of humans before. We were trying to keep our distance on the walkway, just kind of staying on the greenway trail, but they were probably 10-15 feet away from us. They were really close. They were just so curious and interesting. They kept looking over at me. I think I got a couple pictures actually of the deer literally just smiling for the camera. It was really fun. It was just such a serene, cool moment. And then it was so funny. I don't know if I actually captured this properly on camera, but someone's dog got off of their leash and this dog just came bounding in and chased all of the deer. The deer, were way faster than the dog, and it was honestly really funny to watch. I felt bad for the guy who had to go chasing for his dog. We figured out that he did find the dog later, but it was really funny and just such a cool moment too. It was a really beautiful walk, and yeah, just kind of a cool memory being made. Okay, but right now we're going to get dressed up a bit, get ready. I think we've got reservations for dinner in about an hour. Not exactly sure where we're eating yet, but Christopher told me we need to get dressed up a bit, so going to get ready now and head to dinner. Christopher, where are we going?
Not telling you.
Please?
Surprise. You want to know?
No, not actually.
Okay, then I'm not telling you.
Okay, it's gonna be a surprise. So after hanging out at our Airbnb for about an hour, getting dressed up for our little date, Christopher and I made the drive to dinner. We took a bit of a scenic drive to get there, going along the Blue Ridge Parkway, which is just one of the prettiest drives in the entire state of North Carolina. And we actually got out a few times just to enjoy the scenery. But for dinner, Christopher had made reservations for us at Timberlake restaurant. It's a charming, historic, and very iconic restaurant in the area, set on a beautiful property. So Christopher and I arrived a bit early and walked around exploring a bit before our reservation at 7. Then once we were seated, I got so excited just looking at the menu. Everything looked and sounded incredible, and the atmosphere at this place was really cool as well. I would describe it as kind of luxury log cabin vibes. It was quite high-end, but also had a very cozy vibe to it as well. And then for dinner, Christopher and I enjoyed the cornbread and butternut squash soup as an appetizer. Then for our main course, I ordered a sirloin steak and Christopher got salmon. Then we both got the mashed potatoes and Brussels sprouts as a side. And everything on our plates just tasted absolutely divine, and we had a great time here, enjoying a lovely meal and some great conversation. But then around 9 p.m. we got back to our Airbnb and decided to take advantage of the fire pit right outside. So Christopher carved a couple of marshmallow roasting sticks for us, and we each made a couple of s'mores. There really is something about enjoying a gooey s'more on a crisp autumn night that I just love. Good morning, friends. Today we are on the road a bit early. Well, earlier. It's like 9:15 right now. I don't think we got on the road until 10 yesterday, so making progress. We just packed up and left the Airbnb this morning though, and it is another absolutely gorgeous day. Right now we're driving on the Blue Ridge Parkway on our way to Blowing Rock, going to get some coffee. I'm like very tired still right now, so we're going to get some coffee, some food, and we're going to spend the day exploring the parkway. I think Christopher has some stops along the parkway planned for us. I don't know what they are yet, but I think it's going to be just a beautiful day. I think that we're going to do some hiking. Christopher told me to wear something a bit more active, and honestly, again, I just feel like this area is so beautiful at this time of year that whatever we do, we just can't go wrong. Like, it's all so beautiful. Definitely gonna need some coffee though. I'm very just like a little zombie mode right now. And for breakfast and some coffee, Christopher and I came to Camp Coffee Roasters, which is located right in the heart of Blowing Rock. For breakfast, I ordered a smoothie just to have something a bit on the healthier side, and I decided to nix the coffee and instead ordered a London fog latte. I'd had every intention of ordering a coffee, but once I saw that was on the menu, I knew that I had to get it because it's probably one of my favorite hot beverages. Then we took our drinks and started heading down the Blue Ridge Parkway, making our first stop at Flat Top Manor. And the estate is located in an absolutely stunning part of the mountains, and these days it's actually host to the Parkway Craft Center. And so inside the manor there are dozens of displays of the work of various local artists. And you can just wander around and take in all of the beautiful pieces of art, or if you want, bring home a lovely souvenir or gift for a loved one. I always really enjoy just being able to take in and to appreciate the craftsmanship of others, so just being able to wander around this place was a lot of fun for me. Then after our stop at the manor, it was time to get back in the car to continue making our way down the parkway to our next stop. Unfortunately, it was just about a 10-minute drive down the road. The next spot that we visited was Trout Lake. This is a very scenic spot with a beautiful trail going around the lake, and the colors of the leaves in this spot were particularly vibrant. So we just spent a bit of time wandering down the trail and taking it all in. We didn't do the entire trail because we knew there were going to be some more significant hikes that we wanted to do later in the day, but it was a really nice stop kind of along the way. Then just about 10 more minutes down the parkway was our next stop and the biggest hike that we had planned for the day. And the trail that we went on was called the Green Knob Loop, and it's about a 2.5 mile long, moderately challenging route. And probably one of the more fun elements of this hike was that there were several small streams that you had to cross over. And so honestly, it was quite a lot of fun just being able to pick a route across the rocks to cross each of the various streams. Something else that was cool and just a bit different about this hike is you actually got to go underneath the highway as well, and kind of gave you a unique perspective that you just don't really get when you're driving really quickly through a spot. And then after about a half hour of hiking through the woods, the trail really opened up into a handful of beautiful wide open fields. And then after the fields, the trail opened back up into some beautiful mountain vistas. And again, we just loved being able to appreciate all the colorful trees, and just the scenery at this time of year is stunning. Which I feel like I've said a million times already, but I probably will continue to because it's true. Well, that was just such a fun hike. It was a really nice combination of just kind of different features. There was the water, there was some beautiful scenic mountain landscapes, the rolling hills. It was just really fun to do. Really enjoyed that, and now we're on our way to our next destination. Got about a 30-minute drive ahead of us. The next stop on our trip was a visit to Grandfather Mountain. This is something Christopher had reserved tickets for a few weeks in advance, and I was so glad that he did. It was one of those things that I'd always heard about, but I'd never gotten the chance to do, and it really was an amazing experience. But before diving into any of the cool activities and sights at the mountain, Christopher and I were both hungry, so we decided to go to the grill on location to order some food.
I think I'm gonna do the mile high food. Can I get it without onions, please?
We both decided to get the same thing, burgers, fries, a couple of drinks, and we shared a slice of pie, and then we brought it outside to enjoy. And I will say I was a bit skeptical going into it that the quality of the food wouldn't be super high, but the food was actually quite delicious. And the strawberry rhubarb pie especially really hit the spot.
Is it gonna fit in your mouth?
I don't think so. It's hot, dude.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Put it in my mouth and chili real quick. Bottom half is good.
After a filling lunch, Christopher and I decided to get up and to go exploring to see all that Grandfather Mountain had to offer. And quite close to where we ate lunch, there were a number of wildlife habitats where they keep a number of native animals to the area that for one reason or another aren't able to survive by themselves in the wild. So we had the opportunity to see a couple of adult male elk and even hear one of them bugling. We learned that's the proper term for the elk call. Then we also got the chance to see some river otters, a cougar, bald eagles, and even a few black bears. The bears in particular really fascinated me. We got to see them playing and some of them even interacting with each other. It was really neat just getting to see such powerful creatures really up close and personal. And our next stop was an incredible lookout point. And if you ever come to Grandfather Mountain yourself, I definitely recommend not going directly to the top at first and instead stopping for a bit to check the spot out. The views from this spot were absolutely panoramic, and this area was a lot less crowded than the top of the mountain. So we spent quite a bit of time here just soaking it all up and taking in the views.
Fancy seeing you here.
Fancy.
And then after a bit, we hopped back in the car to make our way to the top of the mountain. And we didn't drive all the way to the top. The traffic getting to the top was pretty intense, so instead we opted to park a bit further away and to take the 0.4-mile bridge trail to the top of the mountain. I have to say, I definitely think this was the right decision. Even though the trail was really crowded, it was nothing compared to the lines of cars trying to get to the top. So in a sense, this ended up being a bit of a shortcut. The trail goes to the same location as the road, it just bypasses some of the traffic. And after a short hike, we made it to the main attraction of Grandfather Mountain, the Mile High Bridge. And this bridge was simultaneously one of the most exciting and most terrifying parts of our entire trip. It was just absolutely insane being on that bridge and being surrounded in every direction with the most incredible views. But at the same time, you are on a swinging bridge, so there's definitely a bit of an adrenaline component baked in there. Honestly though, once you actually got on the bridge, it really wasn't that bad at all, and the views definitely made it worth it. And then once we got to the other side, we just sat there for a while, taking in the scenery and meeting this really cute German Shepherd dog named Adley. She was a big people person and just the cutest thing. And after enjoying the views at the top for probably about 30 minutes to an hour, we once again traversed the bridge and started making our way back down to the parking lot. At this point, it was getting close to 5 p.m., meaning that the park would be closing soon, so we got back into our car and headed back onto the parkway to find a beautiful spot for us to be able to watch the sunset from. For me at least, there really are a few things that I enjoy more in the world than being able to take in a beautiful sunset, especially in the mountains. So we found a really pretty spot close to where we had dinner the previous night, playing a few games as we waited for the sun to dip a bit lower on the horizon.
About one of these. $8 million.
Again? Not fair.
And I hate to admit it, but Christopher did crush me in Monopoly Deal, but that was fine because right as I lost in horrific fashion, the sunset really got good, and so I was able just to take that in instead. And so we spent the next little bit watching the sun just light up the trees in the most spectacular fashion, and the clouds cycle through the beautiful colors of the sunset. And on that beautiful note, that's really how we wrapped up our trip to the mountains. Right after the sunset, we hopped back in the car and made the 2.5-hour drive back to Charlotte. So that's it. That was our weekend in the mountains. I hope that you enjoyed coming along with me for this really special trip. Christopher really did just such a spectacular job with planning this whole trip, and it really was one of the most meaningful gifts that I've ever received. That's going to be everything for me for this one, so until next time friends, I hope you have an amazing day. Happy travels! It's a nice monocle you have there. I think it might be a little too big for you. One size too big. There you go.
Arrgh.